Alright, what's up? I'm going to show off this new app I created called Handoff. It's one of many new apps I'm going to be creating on top of BFFless in this app repo. This is a Dropbox-like functionality, so you can share files with other people, with Claude on VPS servers. It's really great, and I'm going to go through the setup. So I currently have a BFFless empty server, and I'm going to set up a few things. We're going to set up an MCP server, and we're going to set up Claude so it has access to that MCP server, and then we're going to set up the GitHub environment variables. So let's go ahead and get started with that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a global API key, and we're just going to call this GitHub /MCP. Alright, and we're going to copy this guy, and now we're going to go and we're going to fork this repo. And let's see here, we're going to say BFFless apps.test, and I'm going to go ahead and create a fork. As it's creating, I'm going to now go into secrets, variables, actions, and I'm going to new repository secret. Paste this value and say BFFless API key. Next, we're going to go and create a variable, and I'm going to create a new repository variable, and I'm going to say BFFless URL https://admin.toshimoto.dev. This is the website BFFless backend I'm going to be using. So now we have our environment variable set up. We're going to come back here and grab this guy, and we're going to set up our MCP server. To set up our MCP server, we're going to go over to docs. We're going to get the MCP server code, and we just need to paste for Claude. So I'm going to copy this guy, and let's go ahead and add that into VS Code real quick. So I have the code that I'm going to update with my domain, which is toshimoto.dev, and then I'm going to come here and replace my API key. Go back and grab my API key, paste my API key. Alright, so now let's go ahead and set up Claude. So Claude has access to the BFFless API key. Alright, so I'm using Fable, and let's see how far we can get with it before it uses up all my tokens. So come over here, grab the repo, and we're going to go to Handoff, and we're going to clone the repo first. Git clone repo. Now we're going to try running our setup. This way our current local file, when we go Claude, we're going to be able to see if it has access to our MCP server, and that, sure enough, it connected. BFF was connected. Okay, so going to Handoff. So we can just ask it, well, what projects do you see set up on BFFless via MCP? It's a waste of my Fable tokens, but that's okay. Alright, so now we just want to confirm that it's the MCP server set up. So we've got our GitHub action set up. We have our list projects. We have our MCP connection to our BFFless backend, and just make sure it can get it. No projects, cool. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is, before we get going, is we're going to switch the backend of BFFless to use AWS instead of local file storage. So here you can see within BFFless, if we go to admin, site settings, infrastructure, we have our current setup is local file system. So we're going to go to migrate storage, and here we're going to add some information about our bucket we're going to create. So we have docs here on AWS S3. So I'm not going to go over them in detail here, but you can do that. I know how to do it. I'm just going to go and create the bucket, and then I'm going to do, you can do global namespace if you want just a global namespace. I'm just going to do a regional namespace. It's going to create something nice and long, Toshimoto Handoff, and it will just create something like this. And so let's go down here, and we're just going to click create bucket. And jumping back to BFFless, Here we're going to paste in our bucket name, and now we got to do our access ID. Now we got to create our user with access to it. All right, so for the user access to it, let's just go ahead and close this, and we're going to go to, actually, you know what, this is helpful. We've just got a link in here to our user, so we're going to come in S3 console, and then we're going to go to our user under I am, and we're going to create a new user. So let's go ahead and create a user, and we're going to call this Toshi Handoff Bucket Writer. All right, next we're going to need to create an access policy, and we're just going to click create access policy and attach it directly. We're going to grab this access policy, and we are going to just add our JSON, and we need to take our bucket name that we created, take this bucket name, and we need to update it here. So we update the bucket name under the resource. Make sure there's no trailing white space or anything, and we're just going to call this Toshi Bucket Writer. That's good. Okay, create policy. All right, so now we've created our policy. We need to attach that policy to the user. We're going to refresh this, and we're going to call it Toshi Bucket Writer. We're going to check this and click next. Great. So now we've created our user, and we have Toshi Handoff Bucket Writer. We're going to click on this guy, and we go security credentials, and we need to go down into access keys. Create an access key application running outside of AWS. Click next. Click create access key. Now we have our access keys. This is what we're going to end up pasting into BFFless. So let's go back here, copy this, and we're going to click continue. All right, not going to save that, and we're going to start the migration. Great. So now we've migrated, switch provider, we're on AWS. Everything we upload goes straight into our bucket instead of the local file server, so I can upload as many files as I want. We've connected our MCP server, and we've uploaded, we set our variables in the GitHub repo. So we're ready to get started. What we want to do is we want to tell Claude to say, let me exit this for a second. We are in pwd LLL. Let's see. Did we clone our repo yet? We got to go into apps test. Now this is our repo, and it's now when I go to Claude and I MCP, it sees the connection. 63 tools. So we're good to now ask it questions about it. And now we're just going to say, this repo is a BFFless apps repo. I want you to explore it and create a handoff app on toshimoto.dev. I've already configured your MCP connection, so you should be able to access all the project rules and all the information. I've set up the AWS bucket, and I've set up the GitHub repo variable and secret, so the pipeline should be able to deploy to BFFless as well. Do some exploring and ask me any follow-up questions you have, and then I want you to deploy this new app, Handoff app, to production on handoff.toshimoto.dev. All right, so we're going to let this run, and we're going to see what happens. See if it can do it all without many questions. All right, so it's invoking the install app skill that comes as part of the repo. This tells it how to install the app. All right, now it's going to ask me some permissions. I'm going to go into auto mode. Now it's doing Claude MCP list. It's listing the MCP connections. Now it's reading the getting started. That has a lot of useful information. It's scanning through the proxy rules that are part of the handoff repo. These rules it could also pull from MCP server. Actually, no, it couldn't. They're not in this. They're not in it yet. They start off just on the GitHub repo. Tools loaded. Remote is BFFless app test. So that's a repository identity I will use. Let me check the current state of your BFFless instance. So now it's calling my BFFless backend server via MCP. All right, does handoff.toshimoto.dev already route to your BFFless instance? Yes, it does. That's good that it's asking me that. Yes, wildcard route exists. Handoff, oh, we forgot to do the cores. Let's go ahead and do the cores. I forgot that part of the setup. So let's go ahead and set the cores rule on the bucket. All right, so this is the cores rules that I already have. And it would tell me this in both the storage on AWS page, we have this little snippet, as well as it could tell me that if I needed to ask it how, it would provide me this information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my my desktop where this file is located, and I'm going to run AWS for this command. Oh, and I need to pass in my bucket name. So this is really tiny print, but basically you pass in, you call this put bucket cores. You're allowing cores rules on this bucket. Okay, I got my bucket. So now I'm going to pass my bucket in here, and I'm going to call this command, and that ran the cores rules. So now let's go back and tell Claude that we've already got that figured out. All right, yes, cores allows put, and let's submit our answers. So we should have everything we need to go for it to build this out. Setting up the wildcard domain is probably a different video if you're interested how. I've created that video already. And setting up the BFFless application. All right, all the prerequisites are confirmed. It's starting with the now it's executing. I'm gonna let this run, and as soon as it's probably gonna take a few minutes. As soon as it's done, I'll be right back. All right, so it just completed. It did one bug so far that I've found when trying to create a folder. Let's go ahead and look at it. So this is the site, and it's got a little file tree on the left, and then our files on the right. I tried to create a folder, and it gave me a validation error. I just pasted that error in here, and caused when I create a handoff nodes table, the upload screen, marked it's 7 base files. I flipped those 7 columns to optional. Okay. So it came up with, it tried to be smart or something and made something required, and it didn't need to. So now I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. So we're going to say temp and create a temp folder. Cool. So now I'm going to try to upload a file, and we'll just take the screenshot here. This is the screenshot that I just did. So let's take this screenshot, and I'm just going to drag and drop it, and let's see. Sweet. So it uploaded the file, and here's the file. We have this little header up here, and then this file actually renders inside of an iframe, I believe. I know it's just rendering. We got full screen. We can look at it full screen, real full screen. We can download the file, and I can open it in a new tab. So some features there. Go back. Here is my home folder. I can share folders with people. I could share just this whole folder. That's pretty cool. And create additional, upload additional files and folders as well. So taking a look at the admin dashboard, we can see that it created, let's start with the domains. It created a, let's see, where Handoff dev domain. it points to the build file. It's public. Now, just because it's public doesn't mean anybody can upload files. There's permissions in it. So if I were in Firefox, I wouldn't be able to necessarily upload anything. I don't think I'd be able to see anything either, other than my own. We'll take a look at that. So now we go and look at our proxy rules. So in a little bit more detail. So all these different proxy rules, like you have the share links, you have serving the content. So in a lot of cases, these things go and they actually are functions that will serve directly out of the bucket on AWS. So this is saying go to the content bucket, the subdirectory. And if we go and look at AWS, we can, let's see, refresh this bucket, and we have BFFless apps, uploads, and we called the directory content, and so this is our file. So there's a ton of different examples here of pipelines that are all baked into the GitHub repo, and so it's pretty helpful for Claude, as well as if you're just trying to understand how these rules work. Data, you can see we have nodes that were stored. We have my folder that was created, and then we have the file itself. And so, yeah, going back, let's do Firefox one more time before we close out. There we go. So going back to, let me grab that share link from the site. So if we go to Handoff, handoff.toshimoto.dev, go into this folder, grab a share link, copy link. I got the link. Go back to Firefox. View the image with the link, right? I'm not signed in. If I go to Handoff, I don't have access to anything. Now I could sign in, and I could sign up, and I haven't enabled public access to this repo yet. Let's go ahead and do that and see if see what happens if I sign in as a different user. So going back to Chrome, if I go to admin.toshimoto.dev, site settings, and then I go to authentication, allow public signups, right? And so now anybody can sign up to the website. They'll have view access, and so if I refresh this page, I can create an account. So let's go ahead and create an account. So I still don't have access to view it, right? And I also don't have access to create. So I can't upload anything, I can't create. But let's go ahead and test trying to share that with me, see how that works. I haven't tested that yet. It'll be a good test. Handoff. So let's go ahead and try to share this folder, see what happens. I need type. Oh, there it is. I do have type ahead. All right, so found the user, and can view is the permission. I think I can't give it greater than that because that user is a view only user. And so now that user should be able to view. So let's go back to Firefox and let's refresh Firefox. Look at that. I have access to this file. And that's like permanent access. I have totally view access. Can I delete it? I can't delete it. I can't, all my permissions are good. I can't do anything with it. If we go back and we promote this user to being an admin, go into BFF users, and then I say make admin. Now this user is an admin. I can go here and refresh. Now I have access to actually add content. That's pretty cool. And I can delete. So my access control is pretty basic. It's not until I make the user an admin do they have the ability to make changes, to actually destroy stuff. If they're anybody else, they can just view it. So I'll go ahead and leave this file up here. Anybody who signs up as a viewer would have access to view these files. How long? I'll leave this up. Before I go though, I will need to just real quick, if we come into settings, API keys, I have these keys. I'm going to delete them and I'm going to recreate them once I stop sharing this video, because those keys became public from publishing this video. Anyway, so that's BFFless apps on top of BFFless. The GitHub repo is right here. With a little bit of help from Claude or just reading the instructions yourself, you can deploy one of these apps on top of BFFless. I also have the Studio app, which I'm not going to do a demo of today, but that's what I use to actually post-production edit these videos. Hope you enjoy the app or give some more information on how to use BFFless.